The game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the SDH Network. We're always around the corner from everywhere. Morning Espresso is brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. Good morning, I'm Jason Longshore. Last week, I told you Arsenal looked like the most complete team in the Premier League, the most complete team in Europe. I praised their control, their maturity, their ability to manage moments. So, of course, soccer did what soccer always does. Commentators curse, right? Within 7 days, they lose at home for the first time since May. They make two big errors in it. They concede in the 87th minute, and they turn a comfortable title narrative into a full-blown debate. Nerves, mentality, all the usual things that are going to keep coming up the rest of the way. Look, this is a part of the job they never warn you about. The moment you say that a team has figured it all out, the game immediately sets out to prove you wrong. That's where we start this morning. Manchester United didn't just win at the Emirates on Sunday. They detonated the Premier League title race, and they may have ignited a second debate that matters just as much. Matheus Cunha's 87th minute winner sealed a 3-2 win that United have not achieved there since 2017. But the significance wasn't just the scoreline, it's the timing. Arsenal struck first through a Lisandro Martinez own goal. Nerves crept in almost immediately for the Gunners. Martin Zubimendi gifted Brian Mbeumo an equalizer. Patrick Dorgu smashed United ahead early in the second half. Mikel Merino scrambled in an equalizer in the 84th minute. But then, just when Arsenal think they've survived the moment, Cunha curls one into the corner, and suddenly this 4-point lead now feels fragile. That's the part that matters. Arsenal remains top, but it's now 3 straight league matches without a win. This is their first home league loss since May. This is a team that has drawn Liverpool, drawn Nottingham Forest, and now lost at home. Mikel Arteta spoke afterwards about mental strength, and that's the entire title race now. It's not purely about quality anymore. It's about whether this group for Arsenal can carry the expectations that they are dealing with. Because the pressure is no longer theoretical, and this is not a quiet week for them at all. They do have Champions League where they are in great shape. That's on Wednesday. They are 7 for 7. I mean, that's the crazy thing is we were talking about Arsenal and the year that they've had. We were talking about it like, wow, they've won 7 European matches in a row here in this competition. They've never done this. Like, hardly anybody's ever done this. And now, just a few days after that, after the big win at Inter, we're sitting here like, man, everything's crazy again. We'll find out what this team's made of. Wednesday, they host Kairat Almaty. They'll be able to rotate and rest, and then they get Leeds United on Saturday. We'll see how Arsenal bounces back. Maybe we'll learn a little bit on Wednesday. Let's go to the other side of this conversation, though, Manchester United. 2 matches since Michael Carrick took over, 2 wins, Manchester City and Arsenal. Suddenly, this caretaker appointment has become a bit of a dilemma. Michael Carrick wasn't supposed to be part of the long-term conversation. He was a bridge. Instead, by simplifying the structure, abandoning Ruben Amorim's back 3, putting players in more typical positions, pushing and really playing Patrick Dorgu, pushing him higher, restoring clarity, he's managing this group really well. He's not doing anything that's crazy tactically. United were pegged back late to have that game go 2-2, but they still had the composure to win it. This is where history matters. Manchester United have been here before with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Brilliant caretaker spell. They end up giving him the job, and he does pretty well. I think the narratives about Ole's time with Manchester United, especially with what they've dealt with before and since, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad by any stretch. It wasn't Sir Alex Ferguson. Is Michael Carrick more like Ole? Is he more like Ruben Amorim and some of the others, although they didn't start this well? Is he more like Sir Alex Ferguson? We're not going to find out unless they give him the job full time. But if he keeps producing these kinds of wins, it becomes harder to justify looking elsewhere. Right now, Manchester United are fourth. They're 12 points off the top. I mean, they're in the conversation, but they're not title contenders, but they're Champions League contenders for sure to get into the mix for next year. And now, after this win, they're big game winners again. They're winning these games that they have not been doing for a while. That's going to change how Manchester United thinks about what they do next. Let's go to Spain. The order of the matches this weekend mattered. Real Madrid went first on Saturday. They beat Villarreal 2-0. Kylian Mbappe scored twice, one from open play, one from the penalty spot. Yes, he went Panenka with Brahim Diaz there. That's wild. 3 straight league wins for Real Madrid. Then Sunday, Barcelona. They knew exactly what they needed to do, and it's where Hansi Flick really matters here. They didn't play well in the first half against Real Oviedo. They're missing Pedri. They lacked rhythm. They struggled to create, but they responded like title contenders do. Dani Olmo capitalized on a defensive error. Rafinha punished another mistake. And then Lamine Yamal with an acrobatic scissor kick volley that you've got to see. 3-0. Barca, top spot reclaimed. Rafinha said afterward, that's our idea, to press high up the pitch and win the ball back quickly. It's not always about flair. It's about the structure. And that's what Hansi Flick has brought to this Barcelona team. Real Madrid applied pressure. Barcelona answered it. Atleti, they remain close. They beat Mallorca 3-0. Alexander Sorloth with a goal, but the moment belonged to Thiago Almada. Just a brilliant goal from Thiago, cutting inside on the right foot like we saw so many times in the Atlanta United kit. Brilliant goal, and it's a strike that reminds you why Simeone values these kinds of players. And it shows that I think it's important that he stays at Atleti, but he's got to get a little more playing time to be comfortable with the Argentine national team. Looks like he's going to stay through the first half of 2026, and we'll see if this goal helps spur him on to get more time and have more moments like this. So after the weekend, Atleti, they're hanging around. Barcelona, they've got answers for Madrid's pressure. Nothing settled in La Liga, but these three are showing kind of who they are at the moment. Now to Carson, California. Friendly with the U.S. women's national team and Paraguay. More than just a match, it was kind of the opening chapter of a new cycle. You'll have World Cup qualifying later in the year for the U.S. women's national team. They beat Paraguay 6-0 in this one with 5 goals in 12 minutes in the second half. It took a while to break through, and then it was an avalanche. One reason why it took a while to break through is this was the least experienced starting lineup in 25 years. And it was the first night for some of these players of real responsibility. Trinity Rodman back, wearing the armband. She gets a goal. After the match, she said it was a full circle moment and that she was really proud of the team and glad to contribute. Emma Hayes framed it perfectly afterwards. She said about Rodman, it's a fresh year. It's a fresh start for her. She's settled. She's happy. And then she also said that Rodman told her at halftime, you're not taking me off until I get a goal. And she got her goal. But the night was bigger than just Trinity Rodman, and I know she's going to get all of the headlines right now with the new contract and with the performance that she had. But Raylan Turner scored on her debut. Ali Sintner scored twice. 3 players earned their first caps. Emma Hayes said afterward, there was a lot of inexperience and a lot of nerves, but the team handled themselves really well. This is what a January camp is for. It's not always about results. It's about building responsibility. It's about building leadership. And you saw both of those things come to the fore for the U.S. women's national team. Quickly around the domestic picture, Fulham, they continue to push for Ricardo Pepi, submitting a second $38 million bid to PSV. He's got a broken forearm that'll keep him out until mid-March. Fulham are absolutely committed to bringing him in, betting big on a U.S. men's national team striker at a crucial moment in the cycle for the World Cup, for him, but also a crucial moment for Fulham as well. In the NWSL, the North Carolina Courage introduced Mac Lind as their new head coach. Fresh off a title with BK Häcken and a Champions League quarterfinal in Sweden, he arrives at the league's most decorated club with a mandate to modernize it and rebuild it. In MLS, some news from the weekend. Colorado, they signed Mac Hermann Trophy winner Donovan Phillip on a long-term deal. CF Montreal added Tomas Aviles on loan from Inter Miami. Real Salt Lake brought in Dutch midfielder Stian Spearings. And LAFC finally got the deal done for Swedish U21 midfielder Amin Boudry under that U22 initiative. Inter Miami, they played a preseason match in Lima to face Alianza Lima and lost 3-0 in this match. It's always the big season opening match for Alianza Lima, the Noche Blanquiazul. One of the cool moments afterwards was Argentine forward Alan Cantero for Alianza. He has a tattoo of Lionel Messi lifting the World Cup trophy, and showed it to him and asked for his shirt, and he was overcome with emotion afterwards, speaking to the media, and you could see his teammates knew what it meant to him to meet Lionel Messi and to exchange shirts with him. I mean, even in friendlies, Messi creates these kind of moments, and I think it's just one of those things that maybe being in MLS, we take it for granted sometimes. I know people like to get cynical and take shots, and that's fun and all, but this is a guy who transcends just being a really good player. He's on another level for most of the world, and you have to respect that. It's such a cool thing to see when it comes to the fore like this. Around the corner on the SDH network, on SDH AM this morning, John Nelson will lead with Thiago Almada's goal for Atleti. He'll extend some U.S. women's national team coverage with the goals and post-match comments from Turner, Rodman, and Emma Hayes. Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game, Bart Keeler from the Soccer for U.S. podcast are the guests this morning. And as always, check in at soccerdownhere.net when you can. Our latest written pieces, click read at the top of the screen. You'll see Matt Edwards from Atlanta United preseason camp. You can listen to my conversation with him along with Madison Cruz. And you can get a piece about confidence from Michael Parkhurst of Beyond Goals Mentoring, his chat with John on SDH AM last Friday. A lot of stuff happening right now in the SDH network world, the universe. So make sure you are staying in touch with all of it. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Soccer Down Here. Bookmark soccerdownhere.net. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to the Morning Espresso newsletter, and make sure you're subscribed to the Kick Into Summer newsletter as well. kickintosummer.beehive, and that's with 2 I's.com. Our weekly magazine-style coverage of everything as we build up to the World Cup coming this summer. All right, time for the refill. Some quick hits from around the world. Liverpool looks like they're going to hold firm on Andy Robertson, refusing to allow his move to Tottenham Hotspur despite his contract expiring in the summer. Defensive injuries are forcing Arne Slot to keep Robertson in the group for now. In the Women's Super League, Chelsea's title defense took a major blow with a home loss to Arsenal, and Manchester City took full advantage as Bunny Shaw struck late to open up a 9-point lead at the top for City. In France, Marseille, they beat Lyon to pull back into the title picture. PSG's in that mix as well. Ligue 1 could be very, very interesting this spring. In Germany, the Bundesliga will not be interesting, but Bayern Munich did lose. Their unbeaten run ended with a shock loss at Augsburg. In Poland, the top flight in Poland is the wildest league right now in Europe. 11 points separate first from last, and almost everyone is in contention to win, but almost everyone is in contention to get relegated. So Legia Warsaw, for example, is in the relegation zone right now, but they're 11 points out of first. It's crazy. It's crazy. They get started back up this weekend. Leicester City, they dismissed manager Martí Cifuentes after another poor result in the championship. In Scotland, Celtic dropped more points in a draw with Hearts. Rangers closed the gap, and the title defense for Celtic continues to wobble. Villarreal and Argentina suffered a blow as Juan Foyth broke his tibia and fibula in that match against Real Madrid on Saturday. Very unlikely that he will feature in the World Cup this summer. Nani, at 39 years old, has come out of retirement. I guess he was in semi-retirement. He was playing in TST and such. He has signed with a club in Kazakhstan. He signed with Astana. Sergio Ramos, we'd mentioned this before in the morning espresso. It looks like it's very, very close to becoming a real deal that he would become a part owner of the first club that he started at, Sevilla. About 450 million euros, what the number is going to look like. It's going to come down to. He's fronting the consortium that has jumped an American group to take control of Sevilla. It seems like it's in the final stages, according to Spanish radio. Soccer, as always, never, ever sleeps. This weekend gave us a useful reminder why none of this stuff is linear anymore. Arsenal looked great after Wednesday night's game in the Champions League, and then they didn't on Sunday. Barcelona, they absorbed pressure because they had to, and they got it done. Manchester United have found belief seemingly out of nowhere in 2 games. And the U.S. women's national team have started a new cycle with youth, with responsibility, not just 6 goals. Across leagues, continents, the pattern was the same. Titles tighten, the races tighten, decisions accelerate, margins shrink. Everything is being decided now in the game. One mistake, one finish, one moment at a time. All of those things will affect who ends up lifting trophies at the end of the spring before we go into a wild, wild summer on other fronts. That's where we'll leave it this morning. We're always around the corner from everywhere on the SDH Network. Soccer over there tonight at 8 o'clock. You can watch on YouTube and on Twitch. And then I'll be back with you for another cup of morning espresso tomorrow.